Hello, Globetrotters. How are you all? It's good because I can't see myself, which is actually really nice because it's quite early here in the morning. I'm going to check to see where everyone's tuning in from. We have our beautiful Felicity Rous here, who is one of our Globetrotters. And then I've got our team, Laura Roberts and Amy, who's also going to answer any of your questions in the chat. Um, so yeah, I would love to hear where you're from around the world. If you've globetrotted with us before, as you all know, this particular masterclass is about something that I'm very passionate about. It was actually quite decisive. I was saying to Felicity that a lot of people are saying they don't want to globetrot with kids, but it's actually they don't know what they're missing out on because it's doesn't it, Felicity? It bring a lot of the adults. It brings a lot of joy to them when they are riding alongside these kids because there's something very childlike about, enjoying being in on trails and riding, which is nice. So Felicity first started globetrotting with her two children. First of all, Felicity, how did you find us decide to spend a lot of money with globetrotting and how many kids do you have?
Well, how many kids do I have? It depends whether you count a 45-year-old husband as a child, which when we
Sometimes.
go globetrotting, I do. Um, Justin and I have two kids. Our kids are, I was trying to remember this, like they're 14 and about to turn 13. When we
Yeah.
first went when we became globetrotters,
Yeah.
our kids were 11 and 12. So it's only
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Yeah.
Uh, I had the great privilege of meeting Kate through Pony Club, actually.
Yes.
And I booked Justin and I on a globetrotting trip in Argentina and then realised that I didn't have any plans for children. So I asked Kate if the kids could come too because Kate and Steve were taking theirs. And that's actually how we became a globetrotting family, is that we linked in with Kate and Steve. In that very short time, we have done four globetrotting trips and all in Argentina, um, all en masse. And it unashamedly, it's the best family holiday that we've ever had. Uh, are we riders? Yes, we are. Were we riders before we were globetrotters? Yes, I grew up riding. Justin is a polo player. Frankie is now a great equestrian with Kate's girls. And much to, he pretends, our son is 12 and he pretends that he protests, but he has the best time
It
globetrotting.
really does. And when he's
Absolutely.
surrounded by all the girls as well,
And
but he does.
that's right.
Mm.
Yep.
It's very true. And this is what I wanted to shout out to the families listening that it isn't just for your daughters, it is also for boys. And we can really select rides. Like the Argentinian rides are quite macho. There's a lot of gauchos, there's a lot of cattle work. I know, boys like to go fast and furious, and that is, there's definitely, or stretch themselves, as do girls. But like, do you feel, Felicity, like specifically the Corrientes ride, which is the ride in northern Argentina, that that would appeal to young boys more so?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, cowboys and Indians, but
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Spanish, if
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Um, it is colourful, it is fast, surrounded by gauchos and immersed in the gaucho culture, and it is quite masculine, but it's actually it's feminine at the same time. It's
yeah.
soft and it's not a brash cowboy culture.
No,
It's and so for us as a family, that was our introduction. It was a pretty cool landing. Uh,
yeah,
the other thing about that Corrientes ride is that the family that we stay with and ride with also have a fishing lodge. And on our second trip last year, we fished and then rode, and that was a really awesome mix for all of us actually, because a month on a horse is a long time,
yeah,
and so yeah, so it is. I still think the being you're off devices, you're out of your comfort zone, you are in nature, you are surrounded by really interesting people, in and experiencing a different culture. And
Yeah.
that's the type of travel and experience that we want to continue to give our children. And our globetrotting holidays have just ticked all those boxes.
And how do you feel from the start, like day one to day seven, their riding ability and confidence? And I think speaking to parents about the horse safety and like, obviously it's a leap of faith to put your child on a horse that you don't know. How's that worked out on all the different rides?
Yeah, so and it's a really good question and hilarious as a mother. So when we did our first ride, our daughter Frankie said, "I'm just going to trot, mummy," and I was like, "You know
Yeah.
what? You can trot, darling. That's great, and I'll trot next to you." So that was her little package, and then mine was, and the gauchos were asking me what kind of horse I would like. I said, "Okay, well, I just need a horse that's going to be very slow and steady because I need to be with my kids,
Yeah.
and my kids are going to be slow and steady." And without a word of a lie, day three, one of the gauchos in his very split Spanish said, where are your children?" And I was like, I don't know. They were out the front,
Yeah.
and Clancy particularly, side by side with gauchos. The the way in which I think the globetrotting team capture your information, but also then work with the ride partners to match you with the right horse,
Yeah.
is actually, it's quite amazing
Yeah.
considering that you're doing it kind of online to start with, and then in real life when you get there. Um, do you change? Are there some ups and downs? That's the really cool thing, is that you, at any point in time, if there's an ounce of discomfort or
Yeah.
uncomfortableness, whether that's with your tack or with your horse or anything like that,
Yeah.
all you have to do is say, listen, that's not working for me. I think Frankie, our daughter's been counting the horses
Yeah.
that she's ridden,
Same.
and I think
Yeah.
she's up to, I don't know, 11 or 12
Yeah.
different horses.
Yeah.
And from the little girl that wanted to trot, she
Yeah.
just went 45 minutes under time on her cross country on Sunday.
45 minutes, 45
Sorry,
seconds.
seconds, 45 seconds under time.
Yeah.
So it's, I can safely and honestly say that the care and concern and the duty of care that the globetrotting team and the ride partners have for everyone, but particularly with kids,
Yeah.
it actually it shouldn't be surprising, but it actually is
Yeah.
delightfully surprising.
Yeah. I agree. And this is the thing, is the trajectory from, if you've got a kid that's reluctant to go to, like, riding lessons are so boring for kids. All my kids learnt to ride on trails.
Yeah.
They weren't doing lessons until, they were at least 11 or 12. Learning in nature on trails, making it fun. The kids play tag. They just are squealing with delight the whole time. And we can help you decide on what ride will suit you and your family. And like sometimes, it is that the parents are less confident than the actual kids, and that's okay too. There is so many iterations that we can work with, depending on our ride partners, your price, your budget. But it is so freeing for kids. And as Felicity touched on, like to have your kids around a campfire at night, or to, like, we've traveled deeply into Africa with our kids on riding holidays, and for them to be able to see the Maasai and how they're doing their washing, in one of the rivers, or in Indonesia, in Sumba, like it just, and then all of the wildlife that supports it. Like it is just, I believe in our family ethos, and I know Felicity's is the same, is we prefer to invest in experiences rather than things for our kids. And we're still talking about memories from our globetrotting trips, from, and all the bad stuff, like all the flag and the 2 a.m. starts, sort of like, they bubble down, and the big stuff, like, going to a glacier, like the kids did not want to ride to this glacier, and it was like 10 hours in the saddle. And when they reached that glacier, they felt like they'd climbed Mount Everest. And
Yeah.
it was. And the resilience and grit that these kids have to go through is phenomenal. I mean, there's a level of pushing them too far. I get that.
Mm.
So that's where we, can work with you and figure out what itinerary works best and what destination. I'm just going to share my screen because I got a little presentation for you guys. I'm just hoping the chat's working, Amy and Elle Roberts, but I'm just going to continue anyway. So, good news, you don't have to wait till they're older, which is so true. That's actually, well, there's Felicity's child, Frankie, there with it's so innocent, like making daisy chains while you have lunch and lying in a meadow. Like, there's just things that um, is going to be full of their book of life, and these rides are, I can guarantee you will be part of that, like there, and we have so many different ones. So for our littlest globetrotters, and Poppy, my youngest, who's now 8, has been globetrotting, well, since she was little, but our youngest, Castle and Estate, which is a wonderful ride in Ireland, that is minimum age is 7. And then Helena, Montana, where you'll see there, that's in the US. Poppy was riding there at 4. Like, so they have programs for kids of all different ages. And then the one that Felicity and I have been talking about in Corrientes also can accommodate. Poppy had gaucho on either side of her when she was learning to trot and canter, and they would not let her out of their sight. So she could still ride with the big kids because she didn't want to be left behind. But she was able to still, participate and ride, which was just, so good. And then, oh yeah, so for families who want a bit of everything, so South Africa is a really good option because it doesn't have big game. We would never, like, for young families, Kenya and Tanzania is definitely off the cards because big game becomes, there's big mistakes if something were to happen with elephant and lion. But the South Africa, you've got only plains game, and it's, it's the for the kids to be able to ride alongside zebra, giraffe is any kid's dream, nor, I mean, as well as adults. Mexico's also a phenomenal destination where you're based in the one location, you ride out. And one of my all-time favorites is Mongolia. This is where we call it the final frontier. And I haven't told you this, Felicity, but we're going there in September next year. You're coming with the family. It's going to be the Golden Eagle Festival. And that's right on the western side of Mongolia where they, with the Kazakhs. And this ride, I mean, it's very intrepid and very adventurous. But for kids to be able to brush shoulders with the Mongols and, be part of the age-old tradition with the Eagles is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. And as well as the Nadam Festival, globetrotting, we have a very high priority on horse culture and significant horse cultural events. So you'll find a lot of our itineraries do have those, like blow you apart horse cultural events that no one else would be able to get to unless you were on a horse. And these that is true globetrotting to us. I also touched on the mixed riding ability. So again, if your husband may be a beginner or you're a beginner and your kids are advanced, there are options for you as well. There's so many options actually. If you and your daughter could be 19 and you're 50 and you could do the dressage ride. So there's, as I said, we can mix and match according. And I think it's just best, to pick up the phone and speak to us and we can, match a ride perfectly for you. Also, I know that teens, to keep them interested and engaged, I can share an experience with Finn, my 14-year-old. We went to Iceland in July. She didn't want to go. She didn't want to leave her friends. She was like, I mean, first world problem, Mum, I don't want to go to Iceland. I don't want to leave my horses and my, cows. And she got there. She was the only teenager on this ride. She didn't have her phone for the whole 8 days, never asked for it, nor was it even an option for her to be allowed with it. There's no internet anyway. But day 2, she's like, Mum, I'm so sorry I didn't want to go. This is the best ride of my life. And she sat around a dinner table and held conversation with people from all over the world of all different ages, playing cards, helping clean up after dinner. Like, it is the life skills that these kids get, and then also the connection that I get with my daughter away from the noise of everyday life, doing your homework, making your bed, and just being on a ride and being present with her and herding the horses was phenomenal. And we, as Felicity does, I make a priority to do that with one of my girls every year. I know it's a gift because I run this company so I can, but I can't tell you how, lovely and significant that is for our relationship. So, teens are at a tricky time. I actually think it's really nice to take them out of that angst and drop them in a location remote with horses, and they just come back to themselves. And you get to have those really deep conversations that you probably wouldn't get to have with the noise of everyday life. Wouldn't you agree, Felicity? I think, honestly, I think that's, you're on mute. Someone must have muted you. I don't know how to mute you.
No, I muted myself.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I yeah, I totally agree with everything that has said, and um, I think having experiences for us, having experience with our kids, that can teach some life lessons at the same
Yeah.
time as
Yeah.
having a great holiday. And I think skiing or mountain biking, all
Yeah.
those different things are wonderful. They're physical, so they have dopamine. You feel good.
Yeah.
Um, for us, the added dimension of being on horseback
Yeah.
is that you can actually go places that where there are no vehicles.
No.
Um, you're actually, there is something about being on a horse and with a horse, and
Mm.
being pushed, not just physically but mentally and emotionally, uh, with what you're doing and where you're going.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, as I said, they're
Magical.
the best family holidays that we've had.
I hope everyone's feeling this because I am for sure. Like, and then there are like the serious adventure ones and these Bighorn, Iceland, which I just spoke about, the Golden Eagle Festival in Mongolia, the Masai Mara ride. This is again, Masai Mara ride in Tanzania would be for your advanced teens. So they're eventers, they're polo players, they're polo cross players. They can critically think so that if there were an elephant charge, they can get out of the way. You're obviously sandwiched between guides, but there's still that risk. But these are the gritty, resilient, what we call edge of yourself rides. These are the rides that, there'd be days where it would be hard, but then the byproduct of that is there's so much growth. Like they just grow so
Yeah,
much. And as a parent you can advocate, like, but it's just smart traveling. Like sometimes the kids get hungry, having, and this is what we can support you with, but having the ride partners will have it, but extra snacks if your kid needs to be snacking all the time, or just stuff like that. But again, we are, I've done it a lot, and you can learn from all my mistakes because I've made many. This is our Corrientes Argentina ride. Again, this
oh,
is a really well-priced ride. I would start with this.
yeah,
There's two elements. You can be based at the estancia and ride out each day, and that can look like mustering cattle, learning how to lasso, polo, swimming the horses. We did a lot of that, marsh fights. And then they have the estancia to estancia ride, which kids do love riding with purpose. So they love going to a new destination the next day and having like that challenge of riding 6 hours a day. And don't worry, there's a siesta and as you can see on the photo of the right, that lunch was our pop-up lunch with, ribeye fillet and red wine. So you're not going to want for anything. This one's a really exciting ride. It's our Northern Kenya ride. We're road testing this in December and it should come online once we get home. And I love Kenya. It's very dear to my heart. It's where the seed of globetrotting started for me when I was 24. So this ride, again, it can suit the kids that want to just ride around their particular lodge. And then also there's the advanced version where you can ride out with the wild game. So again, the Samburu and Maasai people are phenomenal with kids. And I think part of that element, which, is that the kids will go to a community. So important to really, like, this is world schooling at its best. And it's being able for the kids to see how other cultures live and breathe. And it just gives them so much more perspective and they become children of the world, which I think is my goal in life is to, have my children be big thinkers. And, this type of riding is that. Oh, look, no question. I don't think there'll be any questions because I think we have a shy bunch in here in the chitty chat. So I might be able to. Oh, sorry, nope. Sarah Boland. Do I know Sarah Boland? I do know Sarah Boland. Do any outfits allow tandem riding with your kids? Oh, good question. So I think what you're meaning, Sarah, is like when the kid can ride with you, like Yellowstone, because Poppy and I did that in America when we were road testing a ride, but I don't think so. But again, if you, Sarah, put in the chat how old your child is, I can give you a little bit more information. Shirley is sorry, I'm catching up in the chat. Hampton, Maryland. What about younger grandchildren that have limited riding experience? Yes, Sherlyn. So again, we can help you in offline if you want, but absolutely, there'd be Castle and Estate Ride, Helena, Montana, depending where you're located. But if anyone has any questions, oh, here's 1.5, but
Oh,
wow, that's so cute. But would hope for a trip next year when he's 2. So probably not. Just, I mean, my kids rode at that age too, Sarah, but I would say that you're a little bit early. In saying that, you could, depends if you're going to ride as the family, you could, there's also ones that have nannies. So maybe you could ride and your child, he could maybe stay home. I don't know, like as in stay back at the hotel. Is there flexibility with meal times? Oh, such a good
yes.
question for
Yeah.
younger kids. You can speak to that, Felicity.
So yeah, that is
Yeah,
such a good question. So absolutely is our experience.
yeah,
And flexibility, as Kate mentioned, having snacks and things in saddlebags. That's been a key,
yeah.
a critical success factor, particularly for a young boy. But also, we have, I think, every ride that we've been on, we have, because particularly in Argentina and
Yeah,
European cultures, they do tend to eat quite late. We have on day one said, listen,
yeah,
our kids need to get off the horse and eat,
yeah,
and then I think they ended up having both two lots of dinners,
yeah,
a lot of nights as well.
yeah,
So yeah, so it's wonderful. And again, it's the ride partners that they are so flexible and pliable and really work in with the ones that where we have been. Have totally listened to our needs as guests, but also have they're all families and they
yeah,
understand
yeah,
what it is to have hungry, tired
yes.
children, whether they're 12 or 45.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I actually feel when I'm on a ride and the girls are starting to like, and I'm with guests and the girls are starting to get like cranky. I know that the guests are probably thinking
Mm.
that too, but they're adults and they just don't express it as well.
Yeah,
But I agree. We always prepay, as Felicity said, in Europe and Argentina, they eat dinner quite late. I actually prefer to eat dinner early and always eat with the kids anyway. So as long like the ride partners don't know what they don't know. So as long as there's that constant communication, then they will, as Felicity said, they'll meet you wherever you're at.
yeah,
And even, but they overfeed you at these places. There'll be snacks. There'll be, we had to sort of limit the Coca-Cola because in Argentina they drink that like water. But yes,
yeah,
so there's and also bedtimes as well. Like if you're sitting in a dinner party environment and the kids are tired, depending on where you are and what ride, but the rooms are very close. Everything's very safe because the kids are in the middle of nowhere. So they can go to bed, and you don't have to sit with them. It depends on their age, obviously, but there's so many versions of
yeah,
that we can like, we just will set you up for success in that respect. And same with like, I think it was Frankie one day didn't want to wear chaps. Like things like that. Chaps are important because if they get one sore, then they're going to get really cranky. Like all of that stuff we can help you with so that, and gear and layers. I mean, it's the same for adults, but, just things like that so that the kids are really comfortable in the saddle and Also, kids sometimes don't like to speak up if their stirrups don't feel right. Like just all managing all of that is really important. Again, if they don't like their horse, they can change. That's really
Yep.
important. So it's just, but these guys are the experts. I don't know if I mentioned at the start, but we've road tested all these rides and we've generally road tested them with the kids. So they wouldn't be in our portfolio if they didn't get our tick of approval. So
Yep.
Andrea, can you speak to the Banff ride for preteens, newish riders? Thanks. Yeah, of course. Laura Roberts, do we know the age limit on the Banff border ride? And Andrea, that's a really good ride as well because of the price point, and especially if you're, based in North America as well. All right. Well, I think we're good. Thanks, Felicity, for joining.
Pleasure.
Banff
Thanks.
age is 12. Yeah.
Looking forward to Mongolia.
Yeah, I know. Sorry to spring that on you. You're up for it. Thanks, everyone. We'll speak to you soon.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Enjoy.
Bye.